Philippines, Tzu Chi volunteers continue to help those affected by the recent tremor. Yushan Weather Station has and still is playing a vital role in providing weather forecasts in Taiwan. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Wendy Chen. Thank you for joining us. First up in the Philippines, it has been more than a week since a strong earthquake devastated the lives of countless residents in Bohol Island. As aftershocks continue, most of the survivors have decided to stay in tents that were set up at a local school. To help, Tzu Chi volunteers arrived with relief items, consolation cash, and emotional support.
The recent quake that struck the Philippines' Bohol Island destroyed the centuries-old Our Lady of Light Church. With their spiritual home gone, local residents at Loon Town set up a temporary church nearby. With the continuous aftershock, no one dares return home. Over at the temporary church, quake survivors prayed to the statues that were saved from the ruins. To help the survivors back on their feet, Tzu Chi volunteers arrived not only with relief items, but also a letter from Master Zhen Yan that was translated in Tagalog. Tzu Chi's unconditional love has touched the hearts of many earthquake survivors.
We have been sleeping on the floor and have been soaking wet. The tents have many holes in them and it is very crowded.
The strong quake caused massive damage and death in Loon, Bohol Island. Currently, quake survivors are taking shelter at a local elementary school.
We can't really sleep at night because water leaks in whenever it rains. We have more than 20 people in this tent.
In the aftermath of the tremor, Edelfrida Demetrio and her family lives in a space less than 33 square meters large.
We don't have a home.
Thinking about their current situation, Edelfrida's younger sister can't help but shed tears. Where their statue of St. Mary cracked, the family fixed it with a rubber band and prays sincerely for a better future.
Another earthquake.
To ease anxious hearts, Tzu Chi volunteers present the quake survivors with blankets and cash cards.
This is a great help to us because we don't even have slippers to wear.
With Tzu Chi's eco-friendly blankets in hand, these quake survivors have regained the strength to move on and are ready to return their lives to normal.
In China, 6 months have passed since Sichuan's Ya'an earthquake, and volunteers returned to Tianjin Tzu Chi Elementary School on October 21st to hand out school bags and stationery to students. At the end of the event, volunteers visited the home of Zheng Anqing, who has been living in extreme hardship following the tremor. Seeing her plight, Tzu Chi volunteers decided to subsidize Anqing's school fees to help her continue with her studies.
6 months after the Ya'an earthquake, Tzu Chi volunteers once again arrive at Tianjin Tzu Chi Elementary School to hand out stationery to 78 impoverished students.
Tzu Chi volunteers have gathered the love of people from all around the world and packed them into these school bags, which we have brought here to Tianjin Elementary School.
Volunteers not only brought bags of love, but their sign language performance also warmed the hearts of these students. On her way home, Zheng Anqing and volunteers travel across muddy roads and unsteady stairs, only to arrive at Anqing's home 1 hour later. This is the first time volunteers are visiting the Zheng family, and what they saw was a home collapsed by the quake. Although Anqing's family still have a roof over their heads, they live in extreme hardship. And inside the kitchen is where this family of 3 sleeps.
I sleep next to my grandmother here in the kitchen, and next to me here is where my grandfather sleeps.
Very rarely do mountain villages receive any visitors. Today, volunteers brought Anqing home and also brought their well wishes to her grandparents.
咸了。哎呀，我就别吃了，快一点。
孩子很多都是
Many of the students are brought up by their grandparents, and even if their fathers live at home, they still struggle to make an income. Most of them live in poverty.
Here in the mountains of Ya'an, the temperature is already down to 13 degrees Celsius. Although there is only one simple kilt to shield Anting and her grandparents against the cold, the warmth of family will help them get through these days ahead.
Next, we meet one of this year's New Shoot Scholarship recipients in Taiwan,陈廷瑋, who has received the tuition support for 3 consecutive years. After Chen's father passed away 4 years ago, his mother became the sole breadwinner at home. When the family was most in need of help, Tzu Chi not only took them under its wing, but also gave陈廷瑋the hope to a better future.
谢谢。
Eating a breakfast brought home by her son, Wang enjoys a quiet Saturday morning.
Friday nights, I'll always come back very late, so I'll sleep in on Saturday. On that day, he will go out and buy breakfast for me.
4 years ago, Wang's husband passed away from cancer, and Wang herself was diagnosed with hypothyroidism. Despite her condition, she still had to raise her 2 sons, working the night shift at the post office. Her son廷瑋knows well the hardship his mother faces.
很晚的时候还要去上班，然后到凌晨左右的时候才能回来。
那你会希望他可以在家陪你？
会。
那你有跟他说过吗？
没有。
Both廷瑋and his brother know their mother works hard for every cent, so neither will ask for unnecessary purchases. As well, the brothers do what they can to help with household chores.
想着，这样子
I think this helps them be independent, learn to do things by themselves, and not depend on outside help.
不要太依赖。
Perhaps a result of the pressure the household is under. For years,廷瑋cut himself off from the outside world.
他现在还慢慢的还
Now he's willing to play with others. Before, he would not play with anyone.
他以前不会跟别人玩。
现在才他预定的要在先你是第4组，第4组。
When廷瑋was younger, he attended the Tzu Chi parent-child classes. Now he is currently enrolled in the Tzu Chi program, which has done wonders for his confidence.
因为刚开始来就很没有自信。
When he first came, he lacked confidence, maybe due to his family situation. After coming up on stage several times, he finally finds a sense of self-confidence and became much more outgoing.
For the past few years, volunteers have been looking after廷瑋and his mother, helping with subsidies. This year,廷瑋schoolwork won him the New Shoot scholarships.
This year you received many awards. Now that you are going to middle school, the schoolwork will be harder and you need to keep up with the schoolwork, alright?
Under the loving care of the volunteers and his mom,廷瑋is growing up to be a caring and confident young man.
The Tzu Chi Hong Kong chapter celebrated their 20th anniversary last weekend by holding 3 blessing ceremonies, which included the sign language musical of the Water Repentance Sutra. Next, we see how volunteers young and old overcome their personal challenges to participate in the show. To celebrate the 20th birthday of the Tzu Chi Hong Kong chapter, volunteers invite members of the public to join them in a sign language musical of the Water Repentance Sutra. It has been a challenge for both the eldest performer, who is 80, and the youngest, who is only 8 years of age.
This is such a rare opportunity. I'm filled with Dharma joy. How many more years do I have in life? Think about it. We just need to be more mindful.
Though it is difficult for students who have heavy schoolwork to make time to attend the rehearsals, yet through each practice, they slowly get rid of their bad habits.
I normally do not clean up my own things. Now I will pack things away on my own.
Before, I didn't have the time to care for my mom. Now, when she is not feeling well, I will care for her.
I think they're better behaved now. They do things without having me ask them to.
Performers young and old all hope to present not only their best, but also Tzu Chi's humanitarian spirits to inspire more to join their ranks. Among those who are focused on practicing their movements is on-stage volunteer陈明珠, who stands out due to her frail figure.
因为呢，我的背不是太好呢，这是弯腰的时候。
I have back problems, so when I bend, I am afraid that I won't bend enough and that it will affect the other performers. This is the part that I'm working on. I hope to do better each time.
Despite her physical condition, Chen does her best to take part and strives to do better with each practice. Having adopted a vegetarian diet in February, the woman came to know Tzu Chi through recycling work.
I am deeply moved by the Water Repentance Sutra because it gives me an opportunity to repent. Through participating in this show, whatever I didn't do well before, I hope that I can cleanse my heart and make things better.
Taking Master Zhen Yan's teachings to heart,陈明珠not only has committed herself to recycling work, but also hopes to set an example for all those around her. For countless generations, weather has played a decisive role in the planning and conduct of military campaigns, and accurate meteorological information have been heavily relied on in the battlefield. In Taiwan, the Yushan Weather Station, built by the Japanese in 1943 and served during the Pacific War, still provides important meteorological data and information to civil weather organizations.
For generations, weather has played a key element in warfare. After the First World War, countries around the world started setting up their own weather stations for military use. It was this reason as well that numerous weather stations were set up in Taiwan.
During the Japanese colonial era, high-altitude meteorological observation techniques had not yet been developed. Therefore, the atmospheric information provided by the Mount Ali Station and Yushan Weather Station were vital. It was military reasoning that led the Japanese to set up the Yushan Weather Station. For airplanes traveling from west to east, the pilots could take advantage of the westerly winds or jet streams to not only save time but also fuel.
Located at the boundary of Kaohsiung, Jiayi, and Nantou counties, Yushan is the highest mountain in Northeast Asia. During the Pacific War in 1943, the Japanese built the Yushan Weather Station to collect meteorological information to assist with safe takeoffs and landings. 70 years later, one can still find Japanese influences throughout the buildings. Now we will be going to a secret place, but first we have to get permission before we enter. Here we are, the basement of the Yushan Weather Station. Isn't it like a secret base? In fact, this room used to be a reservoir during the Japanese era, and now it's been turned into a storage room. There are many old devices here. This looks like a compass.
When I worked at the station in the beginning, this disc was installed on the ceiling and the indicator was placed on the roof outside. This device tells you the wind direction, says south-southeast wind or north wind.
Now, no longer serving the military, the information provided by the Yushan Weather Station still plays an important role.
If the sky is clear, you can easily observe the convection cells and the development of clouds at lower altitudes. Our weather information is also useful for the Air Force and commercial planes as they fly past Taiwan's central mountain range.
Knowing the importance of weather information, Taiwan's Air Force and Navy have also set up their own stations to analyze meteorological data.
During wartime, our military operations must remain confidential. That means a lot of necessary meteorological information cannot be acquired through civil weather organizations.
Technology used by the military is normally more advanced than what civil weather organizations have access to, often providing better density, resolution, and precision of data, as well as continual data transmission.
Naval vessels cruise around the island 24/7 without rest. The data and information they collect are for the military, not civilian use. However, such information has the potential to serve the public good.
In other words, the military's weather observation techniques are valuable assets that will lay the foundation for many major advances in the study of meteorology.
Staying in Taiwan, in the remote area of Xingyi Township, Nantou County, lives a kind-hearted Dr. Yang Mao-in, who decided to open a clinic here to help tribal villages receive adequate medical services when needed. When the day is slow, Dr. Yang will close down his clinic and make house calls to those who are unable to leave their home.
Someone once asked Dr. Yang Mao-in why he doesn't open a clinic in the city instead. He simply replied, "There are many people in Xingyi Township that need me." His clinic is along a major road, and there's a bus stop right at the doorstep.
Chronic problems, I can regularly come here. It's more stable.
Dr. Yang first practiced at Jiayi's Alishan Township, then Miaoli's Taiwu Public Health Center. Finally, in 1989, he was transferred to Nantou Xingyi Township, where he has been ever since. Dr. Yang is from the Aitayo tribe, but chooses to give back in a Bunon tribal community.
With so many different tribal languages, it is easier just to speak Japanese with the elder residents.
Conquering language differences, Super Typhoon Herb, and Typhoon Toraji, Dr. Yang has kept at his post through thick and thin.
I stepped on a dirty nail and developed cellulitis. I went to the hospital to have surgery, but since I have diabetes, it made condition even worse.
When patient traffic is low, Dr. Yang will close up shop and visit those who can't leave their house or are severely ill.
For those of us who have mobility issues, even if we have car, we still have to ask someone to drive us. So of course we love it when Dr. Yang pays house calls. It's so convenient for us.
The many years of hard work can be exhausting. However, seeing his patients' health improve, Dr. Yang goes home at the end of each day content.
Moving to Australia, Wagga Wagga and Griffith City in New South Wales recently held multicultural fairs. Tzu Chi volunteers were invited to both events to introduce the organizations to members of the public. And as the battle to gain an upper hand in the Blue Mountain fire is still raging, volunteers also took the opportunity to canvass for donations to help in the recovery efforts.
Passing by charred trees and damaged properties, Tzu Chi volunteers are on their way to attend a multicultural fair in Griffith and Wagga Wagga City in New South Wales. While firefighters battle with the Blue Mountain bushfires, volunteers canvass for donations to help in recovery efforts.
They gave us a means for food and clothing. They gave us blankets to keep us warm. They gave without expectation of anything in return.
My kids take them everywhere, the blankets, and they're beautiful. And everyone asks where we got them from, so we say, and the money that we were given as well, so we give a little bit back for other people, so it can help others.
There is no one in the world that...
The mayor of Wagga Wagga also stops by the Tzu Chi stand to get to know the organization better.
Visiting the stand, I've learned about your recycling programs and your charity program. and it's just a terrific program that you're doing. I've read through some of the sentences in your booklet, and the philosophy of life that you preach and that you bring to the people is a philosophy that we should all follow. And I thank you very much for the work that you're doing.
Sitting down, reading them, and the words are very pertinent and very inspirational. And you can flip open each day and just be reminded about what you should be thinking about and better things to think about and do.
These, for example, I'll be speaking to my students about Buddhist religion, also about the Chinese and Taiwanese cultures, and I'll be putting these around the school.
And it's nice to see you guys. You have a beautiful heart as well.
At the multicultural fair, fairgoers can see performances from different cultures. Tzu Chi volunteer sign language and tea ceremony performances offer a peaceful atmosphere in an otherwise busy environment.
Back to Taiwan in New Taipei City, to encourage more residents to go meatless, Bantao District Tzu Chi volunteers prepared more than 50 delicious vegetarian dishes during their most recent training seminar. But first, we go to the Tzu Chi Taipei Eastern District Liaison Office to join their Jingsi Food Products creative cooking event.
22 vegetarian dishes on the table ready for volunteers to try. This is the Jingsi Food Product Creative Cooking event held at the Tzu Chi Taipei Eastern District Liaison Office.
I love the mixed fruit and nuts and Cantonese style chow mein. I think both are very delicious and simple to make.
The sauce for the mixed fruits and nuts is perfect. It's very tasty.
Using Tzu Chi's instant noodles and adding some sauce on the top, a simple Cantonese-style chow mein is ready to serve. The mixed fruits and nuts is the combination of 4 different types of vegetables and fruits with a salad sauce made from Tzu Chi's 5-grain powder.
I used the Tzu Chi 5-grain powder and mixed it with some mayonnaise. Next, I added some nuts.
During the event, volunteers happily shared tips on how to incorporate Jingsi food products in dishes. Among the most popular dishes is pasta made from pumpkin noodles.
I took some pumpkin noodles and cherry tomatoes. I also added some salt, pepper and basil. Mix it well and it is done.
Meanwhile, in New Taipei City's Banqiao district, kitchen volunteers have prepared more than 50 vegetarian dishes at their most recent volunteer training seminar to inspire trainees to go meatless.
We can make so many delicious dishes from Jingsi food products. All of us really need to thank Master Zheng Yan. The vegetarian meals are delicious. It is great that we can make so many tasty dishes in such a short time. This cuisine makes me feel right at home.
Inspired by the kitchen volunteers, many promise to try their hand at making these dishes when they return home.
We go to Indonesia at the end of today's show. To promote recycling to all communities, a Tzu Chi volunteer donated a piece of land to Tzu Chi in North Sumatra to set up a recycling station there. Apart from solving the litter issue, local residents were also encouraged to source recyclables. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for tuning in. Goodbye.